I don't know how many hospital ships we had at Iwo. I know the Solace was one. I mean, I can't think of the name. It wasn't the Solace, but Serenity maybe. Anyway, we were sending our wounded out there, and one of the fellows that I ended up operating on, here I was 19 years old. I didn't know what I was doing, and one of the doctors told me to put on a surgical cap and a surgical mask, and I said, why? And he says, I don't want these Marines to see how young you are. And so this one fellow, his name was James Murphy. He was a lieutenant junior grade. He was on the Keokuk, and he had a terrible wound, a great big gaping wound between his hip and his lower rib. And I looked up inside. He'd been wearing a Navy fur-lined jacket, and all that fur was inside. His lungs had collapsed, and I had nobody to help me. I didn't know what I was doing. And I was really concerned. I hadn't washed my hands after the last 20 people I'd worked on. And at any rate, I did the best I could. I got him patched up and sewed up, and I worried about him. I had nightmares over that later. 37 years later, I picked up a magazine. It was either Leatherneck or Our Navy, and I read about a reunion of the USS Keokuk, and I wrote a letter to him, and I asked, whatever happened to that lieutenant? Did he survive? And I get a letter back from him, and he says, thank you. Here's a 37-year delay, and thank you for saving my life. And I corresponded with him until he died, and he always wrote me as doctor, and I never had the guts to tell him that I wasn't a doctor. I was pleased to know that he eventually was treated by somebody who hopefully knew what he was doing. And anyway, that's that story. My time up? Yes? Sit down? Okay, I guess my time's up. At any rate, when we, on the last day, up at this point, I was a seaman first class, and the last day, 2 naval officers came up to me and he says, Doctor, we want to thank you for all your help. And I looked at him and I said, I'm not a doctor. I says, I'm not even a petty officer. And they said, well, you are now. And that's how I got 3rd class. Okay.